A rabbit leaps into the air, twists its body in a sudden burst of energy, lands, and immediately freezes. It makes no sound. So, what is it actually trying to say? When we bring animals into our homes, we expect them to communicate audibly. Dogs bark to show excitement, and cats meow to ask for food. We rely on sound to gauge their emotions. But rabbits operate on a completely different frequency. As prey animals, making a sound in the wild usually gives away your position to a predator. To survive, rabbits evolved to communicate almost entirely through a silent, highly specific physical language. When a rabbit stands tall on its hind legs, a behavior known as periscoping, it is actively scanning the environment, gathering scent information, and checking the horizon for threats. Because we are predators, we naturally misread these prey behaviors. We look at a quiet, motionless rabbit and assume the animal is perfectly calm, content, or maybe even lacking intelligence. But that stillness is often an active state of high alert. Until we learn how to read their physical vocabulary, a rabbit's true emotional state remains completely hidden from us. So, how does an animal hardwired to flee actually show you that it feels safe? A common resting posture is the loaf. A rabbit will tuck all four limbs tightly inward, turning its body into a compact shape. The rabbit is comfortable, but this posture keeps its body mass condensed, allowing it to spring up and escape at a moment's notice. Contrast that with the flop. Without warning, a rabbit throws itself entirely onto its side, stretching its limbs out flat against the floor. If you weren't expecting it, the movement is terrifying. New rabbit owners frequently mistake this sudden dramatic collapse for a seizure or an acute medical emergency. Lying completely flat on its side is the most physically vulnerable position a prey animal can take. With its limbs extended, it would take the rabbit far too long to right itself and run away from an incoming predator. The flop is not an emergency. By putting itself in a position where it cannot easily escape, the rabbit is intentionally turning off its deep seated survival readiness. It feels completely safe in its environment. On the other end of the spectrum, rabbits have very distinct ways of broadcasting fear when their survival instincts are triggered. You might see a rabbit stand completely rigid, pin its ears forward, and slam its powerful hind legs loudly into the ground. This is thumping. It is easy to look at a thumping rabbit and assume it is just angry, misbehaving, or throwing a tantrum. Biologically, a thump is a sophisticated seismic alarm. Those heavy footfalls drive powerful vibrations deep into the earth. These travel down to the underground warren, warning the rest of the family that a predator is near, without a vocal cry revealing their location. If a rabbit isn't actively sounding the alarm, it might try to disappear entirely. By flattening its body against the dirt and pinning its ears tightly back, the rabbit lowers its physical profile to avoid visual detection. When you see these intense reactions in your home, the animal isn't being stubborn or mean. It is executing an ancient, hardwired protocol to protect its colony. Beyond broadcasting general states of fear or joy, rabbits also use specific physical behaviors to communicate directly with us. They possess scent glands located directly under their chins. When a rabbit rubs its chin along your shoes, your furniture, or your hand, it is marking you with its scent, actively claiming you as its own personal territory. The ultimate display of affection happens when a rabbit approaches and begins repeatedly licking your arm or your face. A common misconception is that the rabbit is craving the salt from human sweat, or that an herbivore is somehow trying to taste your flesh. In reality, this is mutual grooming. Within complex rabbit societies, grooming is an intimate social exchange that rabbits reserve exclusively for their chosen bonded mates. By returning that affection and learning to read their subtle physical cues, you bridge the gap between predator and prey. You stop being a giant, scary roommate and are instead accepted as a trusted, equal member of their warren.